All right, we're live. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Power Not podcast. My name is Juan Boyce. I am a self-taught software engineer. I have been programming computers since the age of 11, and now I talk about leadership and tech and transitions and things on my podcast. And these are all things that you can learn to do, just like tying a perfect bow tie. That one came out a little bit different than when it started, but that's okay.
Nice.
It's a reversible tie. so let's start with our guest today. Christin Martin didn't start in tech, but she brought excellence with her when she arrived. Before becoming a software engineer, she was a teacher, an excellent teacher, by the way, and known for
Yeah.
clarity, creativity, and care in the classroom. Today, she brings those same strengths to software development, breaking down complex problems, learning out loud, and helping others grow alongside her. Kristen is also the creator of BuiltInPublic, a project and philosophy rooted in transparency and community. She doesn't just talk about it, she lives it. She's been documenting her transition from teaching into tech every day on LinkedIn, giving others a front row seat into the ups, downs, and turning points in her journey. In a world full of curated success stories, Kristen stands out for her honesty, consistency, and optimism. She reminds us that sharing the process isn't a weakness, it's a superpower. If you've ever
I
questioned
like
your
that.
path as a developer or wondered whether your background belongs in tech, Kristen Martin just might be the voice you need to hear. So thank you
Yeah.
for being on my podcast, Kristen. I appreciate that.
Thank you so much for having me. I've been very excited about this ever since you asked.
Of course, no lies. You were one of the first people I wanted to talk to
Aw.
because I'm, you know, all about a non-traditional path because I
Hmm.
haven't taken a fully traditional path
Hmm.
into my career. And even though I'm a relatively uneducated person, I
No, I wouldn't say
respect I
that.
respect teachers and education. So, I definitely wanted to get you on the show. So I'm glad I
Yeah.
finally got you on.
Yes. And we're
So
here.
yeah, so let's start with the tie.
Hmm.
Let's see the tie and let's see what the story is behind it.
Well, I realized I had to tie a bow tie on here, and I didn't have one. So I was on vacation last week, and I spent probably 45 minutes on Amazon looking for the perfect print. I wanted something fun and bright, but the fun and bright ones aren't on the tie yourself ties. Like the bright ones are on the self tie ties, I guess already tied ones. Probably because most people that would wear crazy ties don't want to tie it. But then I found this elephant one, and I've always loved elephants and how the moms and babies like stay together and how the families are strong and they protect each other. And I thought, you know what, it's community. Built in Public is community, and elephants live in communities and support each other. So I thought it might be perfect for that.
Nice, very very relevant. And
Yeah.
let's see today's tie. This is the one that called to me. It's reversible.
Ah.
And when I first thought about the idea for this podcast, I bought the totally normal number of ties, but they're
Tell me.
reversible. So technically,
Perfect.
they were half price.
I like that. Always a bargain. It's just how you think about it.
Yes, yes, yes. So let's go ahead and get started. So you were a teacher, and
Hmm.
and one thing is, how can I say this? Teaching at the grade schools level seems to be very heavily skewed female,
Hmm.
whereas tech tends to be very heavily skewed male.
Yeah.
What made
Yep.
you decide to leave the classroom and get into tech?
Um, well, teaching, I went into teaching because I knew when I graduated school, I would have a job. Teachers are in demand no matter where you live. You can move, there's a teacher job. I've never had a problem finding a job. I didn't grow up wanting to be a teacher. I mean, most teachers, want to be a teacher from when they're very little, and I never had any desire. The first time I went to school was for painting and printmaking. Um, but as I got older, I had my kids young. I knew I needed a career to support them and went into teaching because it was guaranteed. Now that I'm older, I have some savings. I have been in teaching for 16 years. I need a change. And while I still teach because I need a paycheck, learning to code is what I'm doing. And I love the creativity, I love problem solving, and now I love the community, which was a total surprise to me.
Okay, well, that's great.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask, what strengths from your teaching career have carried over into your work as a developer?
Mm. One thing is patience. I have a lot of patience, and that means if something in my code breaks, if there's a bug, if I'm trying to figure something out, like I never get mad. It's just a challenge to me, and I think that's just after 16 years of having to keep my cool with students and the crazy things they do and the crazy things they say, it's just innate in me to stay calm. And probably that's a strength from teaching. Also, another one is I already knew how to learn. I think a lot of people go into it not knowing how to learn. And already having that under my belt as a teacher made learning myself probably easier than it would be for someone without the same background.
Okay, well, that's
Yeah.
nice. And speaking of learning, let's go ahead and learn how to tie this tie.
Oh my goodness.
Uh,
All right, here we go.
all right. So
Okay.
this first
Mm,
part is going to be easy. We'll start easy. Let's see.
okay.
I am gonna go. You know what? I like the thing is the whatever is on the back of here. I've learned is going to be on the color of my tie.
Okay.
That doesn't matter for you because yours is not reversible. So
No,
that's
no.
why I'm reversing the two colors so it looks nice.
Ah,
But
okay.
the first thing is you cross it over like that, and then you pull that under. Then you take that long end, throw it over his shoulder. See, very simple.
Wait. Can you
Oh,
do
did
that
I do it
one
too
more time?
fast?
One more time.
Okay.
I, okay.
So I've got a long end here and a short end
Okay.
here.
Okay.
So I'm going to cross it over.
Cross it over.
Let's see, and if I remember correctly, I take the long and I put over the short, then I pull that underneath, then
Okay.
boom. Yeah, that part I'm just trying to
Like
do with a
that.
little bit of
I,
flair.
I feel like Superman, like,
Exactly
Clark
like a
Kent.
cape.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Okay.
All right. Oh, so so you post daily on LinkedIn. What made you commit to that, and how has it shaped your journey?
Um, yes, lately I've been missing a couple days, but I make up with more than one post. I started with the goal of posting daily in January. My whole thing was, I'm looking for a job, applying to jobs and reaching out to people isn't working. So if I post every day and I'm in people's faces and people see me every day, whether they like my post or not, they'll know who I am and they'll recognize my name. And maybe um, that will lead to something, a job opportunity, or I don't know, a project, learning something new. And it has been, I mean, ever since I started posting every day, the community, the LinkedIn tech community is so strong. And I don't know what I would do without all of the people that I've met and all of my connections. I met you that way, and look
Yeah.
at us now. It's just like so many opportunities have come from it that I'm really, yes, I'm still looking for a job. Some things have kind of gone back and forth with that, the roller coaster, but what I'm doing is really fulfilling with my projects and the people I'm talking to. So it helps me to stay positive in that way, in optimistic.
Yes. Speaking of projects, tell me about Built-in Public. How did you start
Oh.
that? Where did the idea come from?
Well, that was another strategy. I If something's not working, or if I'm kind of in a lull, I need to figure out something to do next. So I did the posting every day. I'm like, okay. I noticed that my tech posts had the best engagement. The I loved the comments. I loved how people were helping me, how they were giving their opinions. And I was like, I want to sort of like I could go the teacher transitioning into tech route for posts, but that's not really fun for me. I like my tech posts, and I thought, I'm going to build something in public, and I want to stick with it and see it through. So I decided if I made something and made it open source, then I was have no choice but to continue on with it if people were invested in it as much as I was. Um, and Built in Public is going to be a platform for people in tech to connect, like a social media platform. Think LinkedIn, but only the tech posts, because that's what I was enjoying the most. And there'll be, it's a place to build in public, a safe space, collaborate, get feedback, learn, everything in one spot for anyone in tech, designers, people in cybersecurity, scrum masters, product owner, like everyone, um, DevOps, to just find community and support. Especially with the job situation now, I think people need support and community the most.
Yeah, definitely. I don't know what it is. I always say I hear that the job market is brutal, but I've also experienced the job market being brutal.
Hmm. Yeah.
So and so I get that. Definitely, community is very important. Oh,
Yeah.
speaking of very
Okay.
important, let's. What I like to do is like take my finger to the widest part of the bow, and then when I fold it over, that becomes the front loop, and it should be like right in the middle of your neck, and then you pull that other part that's over your
Oh,
shoulder, and you put it down,
okay.
and then it looks sort of like an elephant, where you've got your
Yeah.
ears, got your trunk. There you go. And just to
Elephant.
keep things nice and awkward, let's ask another
I
question.
love it. I love it.
Yes. Oh, tell me, what's something you share publicly that felt vulnerable but ended up helping someone else?
Um, I would say when I first started sharing my technical posts, when I look back, I'm like, oh my gosh, I didn't know anything. And I was sharing that and I thought I knew something. And, but then I realized when other people sort of at my same level saw that, then they would start posting, or my hope was that they would start posting, like in hindsight, um, where at the time they just seemed so basic, like a CSS question, or I don't know, just so I think when I post something that makes someone else, gives them the confidence to post their tech questions or their projects, I think those are the best.
Okay.
Yeah.
And let me ask, when did you start to feel like a real developer? Was there a turning point?
I don't know if I feel like that. I don't know. That is like such a loaded question. Um, I don't know if I could put a label on what I am, which sounds strange. I just I think if someone came to me like, "What do you do?" I would still say, "Oh, I'm a teacher transitioning into tech." Like that's always my line. Um, but I don't really put much thought into teaching. I've been doing it for 16 years, so my day to day in teaching, I don't really have to think about too much. Um, so I can put my energy into my projects. I don't know when I'll feel like a developer, to be honest.
Oh,
I think maybe when I have like an actual job and I can then say, like when people are like, "What do you do?" "Oh, I'm a developer and I work at this company." That's when I'll feel like I can call myself a developer.
yeah, that makes sense. Well, I'll say this. I don't know. I've been doing this since I was a kid.
I
and,
know that is so
and
cool.
is it cool? I was a weird kid. Normal
No.
kids do normal stuff, and I was neither.
Yeah, but I would have been friends with you.
Oh, this is what you think. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. That's a story for another day. But
Next podcast.
let's see if we can continue this here. So what I like to do is I grab the ears of the elephant, I pull it forward, and I pull down on the trunk, and then I look for a hole right here. And I don't know, I might be going too far fast, but but what I'm doing is I'm using my middle finger and thumb to pull down on the trunk, which leaves my index finger free
Huh?
to find that hole, right?
I think I got it.
And then I just pinch here so I can shove the base of that elephant trunk through that hole. And I just want to pull a little bit through to make that back loop. And then, uh, uh, and then when I tighten it up, boom, bow tie.
How am I typing? Is this the?
Oh wait, you're extremely close. Just there's a loop in the back. Hold the single part in the back and just pull on that loop, and it should tighten up the middle. There you go.
Is that it?
Yeah,
So
don't
what
pull it out.
happens with this?
If you pull that, it'll undo the tie like boom.
Oh,
Don't do
but
that.
this is just hanging here. This does not.
Oh, but
I made it.
that is extremely close. You just need to tighten it up. But
It looks like a present bow. Like it should be on a
it's
Christmas present.
you know what? It's funny because every time what is it? Present giving season comes around, I get like fancy paper and ribbons and whatnot,
This
and
too.
I don't know. It doesn't quite. I don't know. I don't know how to tie a bow. Is what that comes down to. Somehow it's similar, but it looks like
I
you
think
should.
I have two loops on this side. I think one loop needs to be on the
Oh,
other side. I don't know how that happened.
you
I
know
like.
what? I don't know how that happened either. We'll,
I know
we'll,
what I
we'll, we'll
did.
do it
I think I went
again.
backwards. I think I should have gone the other way.
Ooh. Here's a question. What advice would you give to someone transitioning into tech who doesn't feel technical enough yet?
Yeah, you can learn anything. You just have to do it every day. And if you like it and you enjoy doing it every day, then you'll become good at it. That's actually the advice my brother gave me when I first started. And I was like, JavaScript is so hard. Oh, by the way, rewind. He is my oldest brother. I'm the youngest of five, and he's a computer programmer. When I was in first grade, he had like a computer, which was the Apple computer with like the rainbow apple on it.
Okay.
And it was just kind of like, I guess it was just like, it wasn't DOS yet, but it was the uh, bright green font, black background, no graphics or anything. And he made an addition and subtraction program for me, probably one of the first programs that he made. And I thought it was so cool. So he came to visit. He lives in Florida now. And I was like, when am I going to be able to do this? Like, it's so hard. And he's like, well, don't worry about it. If you like doing it, you'll figure it out. I'm like, oh. And so I think about that. And honestly, like, if I didn't like doing it, I wouldn't continue with it. That would be silly. I would go find another career to transition to.
Oh, that actually makes sense. I mean, I personally like programming, and so that definitely drives me a lot.
Hmm.
So that's definitely good advice. So
Yeah.
it's not necessarily about feeling like a developer or feeling technical enough. It's more about what's the word? Doing something over until it gets easier. So yeah,
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah. Sticking with it.
Of course. Ooh, what is a recent technical challenge you faced, and how did you approach it?
Oh, I've had so many technical challenges. Well, built in public, I have, mm, a bunch of a core team of people who are smarter than me and know more than me. And so when they bring something, technology to the table, um, it definitely is a challenge because, since I feel like, okay, I started this project, I need to know everything going on with it. And then one of our developers, Andrew, will bring, he knows a lot about the database that we're using, Supabase, and about setting up the CLI, Supabase CLI, so then you can run everything locally. And I didn't understand that. I'm like, but I just like I connect to the cloud one, like on the computer. Like I can also have it on my local computer. And that's only one example of where I was confused and it was challenging for me, but I knew I had to figure it out. And I research. The actually Supabase has great docs with videos. Watch YouTube videos. I'll ask Claude or ChatGPT, like, I am not understanding this. Can you explain it to me? Um, and that's usually how I face a challenge. Do research, um, maybe make it into a LinkedIn post to ask everyone else because, you know, there's a lot of knowledge out there. And I definitely every day am learning. And that no way do I think um, I'll ever know as much as I want to know. Like I'm a perfectionist. I always want to do the best at anything I do. And so I'm constantly like, I don't know that. I need to learn it. And then I'll like go on a tangent learning it.
Yeah. Oh, what are you learning or building right now that's exciting to you?
Well, Built in Public is exciting. But I'm also spending time learning object oriented programming,
Ah,
OOP, because functional programming is what I learned. I sort of view, like, if I saw a class, I'm like, I'm just gonna, why are we doing this dot? Like, that doesn't make sense to me. And then I realized understanding that would help me in so many other languages. And when I come across OOP in code, I want to know what's going on. I can't just gloss over it and be like, I don't get that. I'll just like move on. Or if someone's talking about it, I want to be knowledgeable about it and be able to talk. So that's a fun thing that I'm learning. And just Built in Public as a project is turning into something that I I don't know, it like almost makes me cry, like all the people that are investing their time and knowledge into it. It's just like, I don't know, it's amazing. I never thought that any project would be like this for me.
I get that. Oh, you know what? Let me. I don't know if you want to
Do
redo
it.
that because that. Well, you don't have to. I was just
Oh,
going to tie mine, and I'll just kind of go through the steps quickly enough. But
I
let's
just,
see. What let's see. I keep forgetting. Okay, I'm gonna turn this so that it comes back this color. So what is it? I'll go over. It's weird trying to do the steps because I can do this so easily without thinking. But this is the elephant again. I'm gonna make
mhm.
sure that the cross comes down the right color so that in the bow ties to say, oh, okay. This is the tricky part. You get the oh gosh, I feel like I've lost you here.
For my second time around. Are you going
Uh,
to tie it again?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I can do this all day.
Okay. Oh, I think,
I've tied and untied my bow tie like I don't know hundreds, thousands of times. So crossover makes your front loop. Pull this down. Um, um,
crossover, front loop down.
yeah, you
Um,
know. Um, and then this is the tricky part where you pull your front loop forward and you find the hole and then you pull that back loop through. And then once you pull the back loop through, then you should be able to tighten it and have a bow tie. There we
Look,
go.
that's
There we
better. I
go.
don't know if it's right, but it looks like more like a bow tie.
That's definitely it. You know, you just adjust it a little bit and then boom. That is perfect.
Nice. Wow.
Wow.
You know, my my sister was an aerobics instructor when she was like 20, and she would practice her routines on me. And I was like second grade. And she would lose me like that. She'd be like, okay, up and down and over and twist. I'd be like, what are you doing? I can't keep up with you. And I just had that flashback, Juan, trying to keep up with you.
Oh no! I did that because I was like, okay, you already have your tie tied. You don't want to mess it up. So I was just trying to, you know. Normally, I'll tie and untie
Hmm.
and retie, and I'll go through all the steps. But I figured, oh,
Yeah.
your tie's already tied. You don't need to do it. But that's perfect. That's
Oh,
perfect. So now
yeah.
we can just ask questions.
Relax.
Yeah,
I like it. It's
exactly.
like, I feel like Chippendale style with it, with no collared shirt here.
You know what's funny? When oh gosh, before I got married, right? I
You
went
would,
to the gym and I actually had a collar that and cuffs that I wore with the bow tie in my workout outfit. So
oh,
that's it.
wow. That's, I
Yeah.
wish, I wish that, that was a time, was that long ago? Do we have videos, pictures of this?
I do have a picture. Yeah.
Could you
The
post that on LinkedIn?
You know what? I don't know where it is. I can
Oh,
send it
okay,
to you
yeah.
later though.
Okay, that
Yeah,
sounds good. I
yeah, but
appreciate that.
yeah, but that's great.
Yeah.
So tell me, what's something you wish more
Mhm.
senior devs knew about career switchers?
Uh, like that, I think career switchers have like a career already behind them. So, I mean, I feel like I know how to talk to people. You know, being a reading specialist, part of my job is to train teachers, give professional development, facilitate meetings, talk about data, all of that stuff. Like, I already know how to work on a team. Um, now that I've had okay, back up. I know how to work on a team and talk to people, and I know how to teach people. And I think that's really powerful. And senior devs should know that we already have that under our belts, and the technical stuff, we can learn it. We've already learned a whole nother career, um, that this is layering on what we know. But I don't know where I was going to go with that for a minute. Lost my
Oh,
train of thought.
no, but I get it. You know, you've got a whole career behind you, and there's you're
Hmm.
talking to people, you're collaborating with
Hmm.
people. There are a lot of transferable skills
Hmm.
that you get from teaching that correspond to software engineering.
Yeah,
I've never been a teacher, unless you count me trying to teach people
I
how
know.
to
And you did a pretty good
build.
job because I have something that sort of looks like a bow tie here.
Oh no, that's a perfect bow tie right there. It's great. Um,
See how fast
but
I learned to tie a bow tie, Juan? Someone should hire me. I can learn things quickly, and this is proof.
yes, of course, yes, you can tie a bow tie. You
Mhm.
can write code.
There's a
That's
correlation there.
exactly. You know. Uh, But oh, what's one post you're proud of, and one that still makes you cringe in a good way?
um, I think there's like two prouds. I think like today I posted sort of about the job market being so hard and how it's easy to be really down about it. So I shared um, what keeps me up and what keeps me going. And I didn't realize that that many people would really comment on it. But it sounded like it resonated with a lot of people. Um, so that type of post I'm proud of. I'm also proud of posts that like are kind of silly and that I can tie in something silly. And the most recent one that I started was, "Are you down with OOP?" Because every time I see OOP, I think OPP. And every time I see OPP, I think that 90s
Yeah,
Naughty by
I'm
Nature song.
old. I remember the '90s. I
Yeah.
remember that song
And
when it
I,
was new.
yeah. So, and I just thought, okay, not everyone will catch on to this, but those who do will appreciate it. And so if I like tie something silly in like that, I'm proud of those posts too. I like to make people laugh and enjoy, I don't know, just boost someone's mood. And I hope it did that.
Okay, yeah, definitely. Well, I'd say I'm down with the OOP, but you know me.
Oh, yeah, I know you.
Yes. What's something non-tech that makes you a better developer?
Oh, I think that I read so much. Um, Reading is the best way to build empathy because you can learn about people that you had never come across in your everyday life. You learn people's backgrounds, you learn why they do things, choices they make, mistakes they make, and they're all characters in books. And I think having empathy for other people has made me a better developer in communicating with people. Um, if someone comes to me with an issue or help with something or they're venting, um, I'll stop, I'll listen, and I'll have empathy for them. And I think just reading has done that. And it's sad because so many people don't read and or students, and that empathy piece might be missing, um, which would affect how you'd relate to other people. So yeah, it's probably my superpower.
Yeah, I get that. I think empathy is, I don't know, maybe it sounds crazy, but it's almost something that we should teach, perhaps. I don't know. Maybe I'm going somewhere crazy with that.
Oh, well, I know the research on that.
Oh, well,
Um,
tell me the
yeah.
research. I don't know.
Teaching empathy, schools are trying to do it with a curriculum, a social skills curriculum to teach empathy. And research has shown that that doesn't work. What works is reading about other people's lives, experiencing, talking to other people, learning about other people, what they've been through, um, builds empathy in children more than a
Oh.
curriculum's teaching them like, oh, if someone's having a hard time, you need to think about what may have happened before or put yourself in their shoes. um, kids don't I mean Kids don't like being told what to do,
Hmm.
so being sneaky about teaching it, in my opinion, is, well, telling what how to be empathetic in a curriculum isn't working. um, but students that read a lot have more empathy for other people. Sorry, I'm off my
That makes
soapbox now.
sense though, because like you can read a book and that book might be in first person, so
Yeah.
you're literally thinking in the mind of a person other
Hmm.
than you, and
Yeah.
literally experiencing that. So I get how that's it's
Yeah.
like. Um, Geez, you're stepping into their body in their
Yeah.
mind, when you read that.
Exactly.
So yeah, that makes sense. And when I
Yeah.
say like something should be taught, you know, I'm a non-traditional person. I'm a big believer
Hmm.
that there's more than one way to learn,
For
and to
sure.
teach empathy doesn't necessarily mean, hey, you be empathetic. It
Yeah.
means I think of it in terms of we should deliberately do things
Mm,
in such a way to increase the empathy that people have
yeah.
for each other,
Well,
and that's
modeling.
essentially what teaching is, right?
Yeah. You're
I don't know.
modeling. Yeah. I mean, you're an empathetic person, so I'm sure
Am I?
that's yes. I think so. Um, and I'm sure that is trickled down to your daughter. She's probably empathetic because you model empathy, right?
Maybe I would say
Maybe
I'm a
I'm
very
just like,
soft dad, and
yeah,
I hug her too much.
uh, that's
No,
good
no,
though.
No, no. If she were a son, she would be totally soft. So I'm glad she's a girl. She can be soft.
Yeah. It's okay for sons to be soft too.
No, no.
You need
That's
all
the
sorts.
patriarchy poisoning my thoughts. You know.
Juan. I mean, I understand where you're coming from, Juan. I think I've read a book about someone, a hard dad, so I'm
Uh,
just pulling in the empathetic conversation. Sorry, I didn't mean to veer off the path.
Oh no, 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 no! It's good. You know that's the great thing about this. You know, being live. And oh,
Yeah.
speaking of that, I forgot. Hey everyone, this is live. I can see your comments, and you know if you have anything you want to ask us, definitely put it down in the comments. We can see that, and we'll respond to that. I should have
Uh,
said that at the beginning of the show, but
yeah.
you know,
I see
yeah, but.
Donovan and Brenda and Gavin are in Built-in Public with me. So
Oh,
that's
okay, nice.
exciting. Yeah. Brenda's cybersecurity, amazing, and Gavin's doing development with us. Both amazing. They're married, so,
Oh, to each other, or they just
yeah,
happen to be married.
yeah, to each other, to each other. Three kids that are so young, and they still are amazing at helping with Built in Public and doing all the other stuff that they need to do. So really appreciate them.
Okay, that's nice.
Yeah.
Ooh, let me ask you this: if you could go back and give yourself one message at the start of your coding journey, what would it be?
To slow down with the learning.
Oh, really?
To
That sounds
yeah,
very counterintuitive.
to really understand concepts and to build a strong foundation, I think you have to start slow to go fast. And I wish that I had. Oh, hey, Andrew. Andrew's up in Built in Public too. He's the. Did you? I don't know if you heard my super bass, Andrew.
Yes, yes, yes. He's the
Yeah.
super bass guru.
Yes. But what was I talking about? Oh, go slow to go fast. I wish I had. I was in a boot camp though, and a boot camp is like it's so quick. I wish that I had gone slower with learning the foundation, like really making sure my JavaScript skills were solid before moving on to React. Just, I would go slower. That's the advice that I would give myself. And I think I wouldn't be doubling back so much now on concepts if I had taken my time to begin with.
Okay, I get what you mean, you know, because I think of things like, you know, some things are cumulative.
Mhm.
So, you know, if you understand the base concepts, and then, yeah, I guess that'll make sense. In fact, if you look at, well, I was going to say, if you look at React and those various frameworks, they are built on certain, you know, well-established design patterns and
Mhm.
blah, 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 blah,
Mhm.
blah.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
yeah, so the orientation is not it's
Yeah.
not something that's completely foreign. You know, or if
Yeah.
you've worked with you know any kind of modern programming things. Let me
Sure.
ask, what did you think about the boot camp, if I may ask? Because you know you're a person who, you know, you've gone to school and you have a master's degree. Like, how does the boot camp compare to, I guess, the more traditional educational path?
Lonely. It's lonely.
Lonely.
Yeah, because you're doing it all by yourself. They do encourage you to message people through Slack. Um, I appreciate the boot camp because I was exposed to a lot, but it was just very quick. Um, that I feel like I was familiar with a lot, but and it was a job guarantee boot camp. So after the boot camp, after 6 months, you get your money back. I wasn't ready right after the boot camp. Like that would have been crazy if I got a job because I mean, I learned the basics, HTML, CSS, React, Angular, TypeScript, um, Jest, test unit testing, and then Python for developers. That's so much. There's no way that I could have gotten really good at any of those because once I learned something and finished a project in that, bam, it was on to the next framework, next library. Um, and I did have a few friends that we would message with, but it was before I was really comfortable messaging about what I didn't know or what I needed help with. Now I would probably be reaching out to a lot more people, but I definitely was more shy then. And so I don't think, I mean, and I know boot camps have had a lot of criticism lately in that that's just not, not feasible to finish a boot camp and get a job. But I do appreciate like getting the ball rolling. And then the past year I know what I need to learn and I know what I need to do. And that was from what I was exposed to in the boot camp. So exposure to everything was really good. Um, but deep learning, it wasn't there. I did get my money back though, so I'm happy about
Well,
that.
I guess if you get your money's back, you got your money's worth.
It's a win-win situation, isn't it?
Yeah. I don't know if you're familiar with Brian of Parsity. I was
Hmm. Yeah,
speaking to him, and
I
he's
saw some of that.
and he's an advocate of saying, hey, not everyone should go to code, because the idea that we can take 6 weeks or however long the boot camp is,
Hmm.
and then immediately they're qualified to do a developer job is
Yeah,
uh, unrealistic for the vast majority of people, and not
yes,
not quite consistent with
yep,
reality,
yep.
and it goes back to what you said before, or what your brother told you, right? If you like something, you keep doing it,
Hmm.
right? When
Hmm.
I was 11, I couldn't wait to come home from school and get on my computer and build software,
Yeah,
you know
exactly.
and
Hmm.
that for me was my playtime. So that
Yeah.
might be why I'm um well, I don't know. I don't know if I'm a great programmer.
I mean, you're senior though, right? So, oh,
Let me fix my camera.
okay,
So, there it is.
there
I'm
you go.
clear now. Um, but I do okay.
No,
I
I'm
get
sure
assigned tasks, and those tasks get done.
and that's all that matters. Do you enjoy doing those tasks?
Yes, I actually greatly enjoy my job.
Good.
What's funny is I believe you had a post about the what is it, the Sunday scaries? Is
Yes.
that a thing? I've
For
never heard of the thing.
I can't believe that. For teachers, it's 100% because you just know when you get to work and the kids roll through the door, you have to be on for 6 hours, like
Mhm.
on dealing with just crazy things come at you. And I don't know, just like after a weekend, sort of hyping yourself up for that, it makes me like it's scary thinking like, okay, I have to wake up and teach a bunch of kids and beyond. So yeah, I'm surprised. No other professions have that?
I'm I've never heard of such a thing. I look
Yeah.
forward to Mondays.
No. No,
Which, I mean, I understand, like, Garfield the cat doesn't like Mondays for some reason, but
yeah. And I don't
but
know
for me,
why. Garfield has a great life.
like, getting to work, getting to jump into a problem
I
and
know.
figure things out. It's awesome. It's
I
great.
would love that's what I want. I would love that. Love
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
And then, in fact, well, I have an older brother too, and he had a computer, but his computer was a Commodore 64. But
Oh.
like, um, I remember he would have games, and he could break into the game, and then just
Mm.
manipulate some code and change the rules.
Wow.
And I thought
That's
that was,
cool.
yeah, and
Yeah.
that's where I started. But well, how can I say it? I That's where I really started doing basic, and then eventually I got a I guess a different computer that I also wrote more basic code in and whatnot. So that's basically how I started. You know,
That's what kind of computer was your different computer?
first it was like an IBM XT with
Mhm.
like 10 MB hard drive maybe, and I did GW Basic, and then later we got a 486 with a CD-ROM. You
Oh,
know,
CD-ROMs, those were big. No more like discs.
yeah, and that was cool. And then I got to do QBasic and all that stuff, which is functional programming. I didn't get into object oriented programming until geez, when did I get into object oriented programming? I forget. You know, it all blurs together.
Yeah, I can imagine. It's a lot. It's a long time.
Yeah, but yeah, I think I don't know. I read about it, and then I was doing scripting, and the nice
Mm,
thing is like when you're pulling in like how can I say it, when you're working with a script and you're interacting with other programs, it's nice for them to be object
yeah.
oriented. Because that way, I'm like, I don't need to know how Word works. I just need to know this is Word, and
Mhm.
it'll let me open a document. It'll let me emit things like that. You know.
Yeah. No, that's
So yeah.
exciting. That makes me excited to continue learning.
Oh yeah. Is there anything in particular you're, well, I don't know, excited to jump into that you haven't had the chance to do yet?
Um, well, Andrew on Built in Public, he suggested transit or making all the code TypeScript, like switching from JavaScript to TypeScript, which I'm down for that, but I mean I did TypeScript in my boot camp, but that was a while ago. And so I've kind of been riding along with it. And today I'm like, you need to get better at this. So you can go in and make a file that is TypeScript and not JavaScript and like just be like, it's okay, it'll still run. So I'm excited to get better at that. And I think at the beginning of my coding journey, like when I first started learning, even before my boot camp, I would watch tutorials and they were just like typing it. And I was like, I just want to be able to do that. I don't want to have to sit and think about it. I just want to like type code and make things work right away. Okay, I didn't like at the time realize they were probably looking at another screen, like just typing what was on that screen and explaining it. But just when things become
Like
when
second
some
nature?
things become, yeah, effortless, second nature, so then you can tackle the harder things. So that's what I want TypeScript to become, second nature with the types, so then I can like tackle other things. So I'm excited, but I'm also excited to continue with my OPP or OOP
Yes, OOP.
and
Yeah.
OPPs both.
Yeah. The funny thing about JavaScript was not my first language. And working with BASIC, you declare what type of your variables are. So JavaScript always, and really any dynamically typed language seems very loosey goosey to me.
Yeah.
You know, it's almost like like if you're speaking English, you're right.
Hmm.
Every word has a part of speech, right? And you can verb a word, but or you can use a word as a noun, but
Yep.
you always know what part of speech it is based on context. Does that make
Hmm.
sense?
Yeah, that
And
does.
so the idea that, JavaScript, like if I'm writing JavaScript, I always know exactly what type that variable is supposed to
Hmm.
be.
Hmm.
Java TypeScript is just annotating it with stuff that I already know. Does that make
Yeah.
sense? You
It
know?
just seems like more steps. But I know in
It's
the long run it will save time.
it's what we call a syntactic salt, but
Uh,
it's but are you familiar with that term?
Syntactic sugar. So
Syntactic
salt
salt is
must,
the opposite.
yeah, that's what I inferred that because it's not sweet and making things better.
No, no, but the thing is, if you have a good IDE, your IDE already knows can tell you the types too, especially if you're working
Yeah.
with a linter, and
Yep.
that it makes things a lot easier when you're editing
Yeah.
and whatnot, you know.
Yeah.
But
No,
I
I
get it though. I mean, it's I don't know. For me, like writing code, it's not unlike writing English. So yeah, I
mm-hmm.
can just go into my editor and IDE and start typing code, and it'll do stuff. Or of course, you know how interviews are. You know, whiteboarding, and I'm
Yeah.
writing code.
Have you done a whiteboarding interview?
Oh gosh, I've done hundreds of interviews. I don't know
Like
how many
whiteboarding though?
whiteboarding. Yeah, of course.
Recently?
Well, right now I have a job.
No, I
And
mean when you
it's,
were interviewing.
no,
Like,
no. So recent is like, yeah, I did do some whiteboarding codes. Um,
interesting.
yeah, but what's funny is the current job is funny because I this it's the craziest thing. It sounds crazy when I think about it, but it's actually the opposite of crazy. They handed me a laptop and they said, "We want you to take this task and actually program it, and you can use Firefox or whatever to
Hmm.
Google whatever pieces you need." And I was like, "Wait, what? You're gonna let me have an environment that's extremely similar to the normal environment I would normally use for my job?"
What is
What?
that all about? That
That
makes
sounds
perfect sense.
insane. I've never had a natural coding environment.
Yeah. But then were you nervous? You're like, oh, I can't Google too much. Or
No,
did you
no.
like really
What's
like
funny
settle
is
in?
it was JavaScript, but I had to parse a binary file, and I was like, "Oh, this is
Oh,
exciting! I get to fetch into an array buffer." Um,
mhm.
and I don't know if that makes any sense to you.
I mean, I know binary and I know arrays. So a
Oh,
buffer, what would a buffer be?
um, a buffer is basically a byte array, but
Okay.
but the difference is it's closer to what a C array would be, in that um, each unit is an actual byte,
Hmm. Okay.
as in a unsigned 8-bit
Hmm.
number.
Hmm. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
Juan, look at you. You are a good programmer. You explained
Oh,
that. You, it was technical, but you explained it on my level. I appreciate
okay,
it.
well, it's
It's
good.
good.
You know, yeah, it's exciting, exciting, exciting.
Yeah.
Ah,
Um,
so
yeah, I was just reading Gavin's um, comments about boot camps, and thanks, Gavin. I'll keep up with OOP.
no, no,
I
the
want to
thing
get there.
is, it's like what you said before. You know, everything is cumulative. You know, I had the benefit of learning first. Um, gosh, what is it? Um, with basic, it was like linear, and
Hmm.
you had actual numbers for every line, and it was
Okay.
crazy. Um, which and then I went from there into like functional
Hmm.
programming,
Hmm.
I don't know. And since everything built on other things,
Hmm.
and since I was a kid and I was just
Yeah.
more or less exploring,
Yeah.
I would
It's
always
perfect.
be on the edge of my knowledge, and I would always be soaking up more stuff.
Hmm.
And the difference is when you're a kid, there aren't any stakes for failure, you know?
Yeah.
So it
Yep.
makes it a lot easier to learn.
Yep.
These days, as an adult, you know, it's like if you don't know, you're embarrassed to ask, and it puts you in a
Hmm.
really bad state.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Or
Yeah.
you can just do a LinkedIn post about it and be like, hope for the best.
Yes, but that's the beautiful thing about built in public and building in public and being in public and having a community, you know,
Yeah.
because you find out that um, other people are just like you know,
Hmm.
which is amazing.
Yep.
It's a great thing.
It is because I think we assume everyone is better than us as individuals. Like everyone knows more, everyone's been through it, everyone's more advanced. But I don't know. We're just in the same boat trying to do the best we can, learn the most
Yeah.
we can. And
And everyone started from zero. I mean, certainly there was a time when I didn't know any programming, and I just said, "Oh, this is cool. How does that work?" You know,
Mhm.
and I don't know. Eventually, I got to the point I am. I don't even know all the stuff that I know.
You're
Or,
so lucky you start so early. That's just amazing. Like the brain connections started that early that as an adult it's probably everything came easier for you.
it's possible. I think that like when you look at sports, a lot of professional level people they do start early, right?
Hmm.
They don't. It's not like they go out around
Yeah.
walking around 18 thinking, well, what is basketball? And then all of a sudden they get in
They're
college,
a
and
pro,
the
right?
coach is like, hey, you've never seen basketball before? Let me teach you.
You're a natural. You can just do it. Yeah, no, that
Yeah,
doesn't happen.
I find it. It's funny that that's in sports we start kids like I don't know. I'm sure they've got like children's leagues, right?
Oh yeah, 4 years
But with
old, like
careers, we're like, I don't know, wing it until you're 18. You know?
pretty much. Let's teach you a lot of stuff that doesn't really apply. Like it's sort of like good stuff to know, but does it apply to a career? Somewhat
Yeah.
abstractly. So yeah,
Oh
I
yes,
agree.
abstractly.
Things are pretty abstract. Like in OOP, abstraction, I'm learning about. So just
Oh,
tying it right
nice
in like
abstract
that.
classes and interfaces and
Hmm.
actually, I feel like interfaces are probably a C sharp specific term.
I
If
think so.
you're in working with Python, you probably know protocol or
Yeah,
whatever.
yep, yep. Well, I remember that from my boot camp. I haven't touched Python since, to be to be honest.
Oh,
Yeah.
or geez, there's what do they call it in TypeScript? Um, I don't know. Same concept, language. Um,
Mm.
but yeah, this is great. I think we're coming close to the end of our
Yeah.
time. Are there?
Yeah, flew
Thank
by.
you for coming to chat with me. I appreciate it.
Me too.
Is there any closing? Oh, you know what?
I'm so proud. I'm not taking this off tonight. My kids are gonna
Oh.
be like, "What are you doing?" But I don't care. I
I,
don't care.
I was gonna say like, hey, how do we access built-in public? And are there any closing thoughts you want to provide?
Um, I think on most of us have built-in public on our profiles with a GitHub link. I pop it in there. I can do another post, or Gavin, Brenda, Andrew also might be posting with the GitHub link. And just contact us. We'll invite you to our Discord so you can be in on the conversation because sometimes it's hard for people to know where to begin. So if they just become part of the conversation to see where we're at, and also being helpful, keep new people coming in are really helpful with ideas. So yeah, just message us and look for the post.
All right, that's
And
perfect.
everyone's welcome. And it's perfect for, people starting out. And we're trying to gear it toward if you've never built in public before, or if you've never contributed to open source, it being sort of a safe space, that it's okay. We're all trying to figure this out together.
I get it. Like I said, um, having lower stakes if you fail, but
Yeah.
it's just you have to. I don't know. Trial and error. The error part is where you really, really learn. you
Oh yeah. You
know?
don't learn anything if you get it right all the time.
Oh no,
The
no, because when
struggle.
you get it right, it's like okay, whatever. You have to learn so many wrong ways of doing things to know which way is the right way. You know?
Yep.
or to
And
know
then you'll,
which parts you can change and which parts don't change so much.
and that's how you remember it. You don't want to go through the pain again.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
Well, thank
Thank
you so much.
you. It's
All
been
right.
awesome. Thanks, everyone. All my built in public people. Love to see you here.
All
Thank you,
right.
Vaughn. All right.
All right. Bye.